Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Michael, the Wandering Wizard, and today's video is a book haul. I've got these books from the three little libraries that are in England. They're in the old red phone boxes. One or two might be from the little small ones that you see dotted around. All but one of these books I haven't read. I have 9 books here in total, and one of them is a omnibus book. It contains 6 books. I'll leave that one to the last 'cause that's the chunkiest one. This first book, I read it when I was quite young, so I bought it just basically for nostalgia purposes. Really, I will reread it and review it at some point. This book is Martin Pig by Kevin Brooks. For each of these books, I'll read the quick thing on the back. As I say, in a previous video, I have said that I don't want to know too much about books before I go into them. So all I know about these books, apart from this one, obviously, is what's written on the back. So Martin Pig by Kevin Brooks. It starts off with his father dead, Martin has a choice: tell the police what happened and be suspected of murder, or get rid of the body and get on with the rest of his life. Simple, right? Not quite. One story leads to another. Secrets and lies become darker and crazier, and Martin is faced with twists and turns that leave him reeling. Life is never easy, but death is even harder. This, well, when I was a kid, I really struggled to read. I was not the quickest reader, probably still am. It took me a year to read the first Harry Potter book. Probably do that in like a sitting now. But this book, not that thick, but when I started reading, as I say, I was a slow reader. I read this in one sitting. I can't remember how old I was. I don't remember what year this came out. It came out in 2002, quite a few years ago. If you've read any of these, please leave a comment below. Tell me if you enjoyed them, but no spoilers, please. I might butcher some of these names. I am sorry. The next book is by Stephen Lawhead, and that is Talisman, and that is book 1 of the Pendragon cycle. The only Pendragon that springs to mind for me is Arthur, like King Arthur, Arthur Pendragon. So the back reads, extinguished forever in a hideous paroxysm of earth and sea, Atlantis is lost. Out of the Holocaust, 3 crippled ships emerge to bear King Avalach and his daughter to the cloud-bound Isle of Ynys Prydain. Told you I'd butcher a lot of this. This is a tale that spans 2 worlds, a vision that sings in the heart, and a love that spawns the miracle of Merlin, Arthur, and a destiny that is more than a kingdom. So I like King Arthur and the whole legend of King Arthur. The next book is, I know, by a very popular author who sadly recently passed away. That is Anne Rice. And again, I'm going to butcher this. Vittorio the Vampire. I think this is part of the series from the Interview with a Vampire. Pandora launched a new series of short and bewitching vampire novels. Vittorio the Second in this series tells the mesmerizing story of a vampire in the Italian Age of Gold, introducing a seductive new character to Anne Rice's immortal pantheon. 16-year-old Vittorio, sole survivor of a bizarre and violent massacre at his father's Tuscan hilltop palazzo, escapes to Florence of Cosimo de' Medici, seeking vengeance. He has been saved from death by a mysterious woman, only to find himself at the mercy of demonic and bloody nightmares, war and political intrigue, and torn apart by a dangerous love. Against the backdrop of the wonders, both sacred and profane, of holy Renaissance Italy, with its art and ferocity, angels and demons, Anne Rice creates a passionate, tragic legend of doomed young love and lost in it. I'm not overly into vampire stories. The last couple of books of vampires in I've read was Dave Christoph's Empire of the Vampire, which was an amazing book. I read that so quick. And then before that was the first Twilight book, and I might go back to them. Girlfriend's gone upstairs, so yeah, I might get back to them and review them if anyone wants me to. Next book is Gridlock by Ben Elton. All I know about this one, it's probably about a car. The blurbs on the inside. The world is driving itself to its own funeral. The car, for so long the symbol of freedom and liberation, has become society's ball and chain. In human and environmental terms, it wreaks more destruction than decent-sized wars. And in return, it carries us about our cities rather more slowly than a bicycle. How did we ever let it come to this? After all, everybody wants to unblock the jams, or perhaps they don't. Everybody wants cleaner, more efficient car engines, maybe. Everybody longs for the day when filthy, poisonous, expensive oil will no longer be the very blood in the veins of our way of life. Surely that has to be the bottom line. Well, of course, it all rather depends on how much we are prepared to lose. Most of us stand to lose plenty. The endless wasted hours of gnawing at the steering wheel and wishing that everyone else on earth would just get out the sodding way. The billions of tons of pollution, the endless catalogue of death and disablement, the wholesale destruction of our environment. But there are, of course, those who would lose something much more important than these things. They would lose money and power. I don't usually read things set in this world, but that I picked this up and it sounded really interesting, especially about the pollution. And as I drive for a living, I understand the gnawing at the steering wheel. So the next book is a trilogy in one. It is by Robert Jordan. And to be honest, I didn't know Robert Jordan did anything other than The Wheel of Time and New Spring, but this was nice to see. I didn't know he'd written any Conan stories. I thought it was all Robert E. Howard, but it's nice to see, so I'll definitely be giving this a read fairly soon. Might not put it on my TBR just yet. Obviously, got plenty on there to read as it is. So it's got a small blurb for each one. So the first one is Conan the Invincible. Less than 19 years old and new to the snares and enticements of civilization, the young Conan must join forces with Corella, a dangerous, seductive female bandit, to storm the palace of the evil necromancer Amana and confront their dreaded Eater of Souls. And the second one is Conan the Defender. As revolution brews in the shadowy streets of Belverus, Conan braves the traps and treacheries of the royal palace of the dragon. Pursued by the Lucius and shameless Solaria, the mighty warrior challenges a magic-spawned menace that cannot die, the invincible simulacrum of Albinus. So the third one is Conan the Unconquered. Conan defies the sorcerous power of the cult of doom for the sake of a beautiful young woman known only as Yazbet. From the glory of fabled Agrafur, capital of Turan, the demon-hunted wastes of the blasted lands, Conan proves himself the greatest hero of a bygone era of high adventure. So the next book, to go with a collection I've got over there. I'm trying to collect all of his works. I've mentioned him before. Me and my girlfriend have just passed our first year of our uni courses, and we decided to go to our local superstore and buy ourselves a couple of books. I think I only bought myself one. She might do her own book haul soon. So if you want to check out Starry-Eyed Sophie and keep a lookout for her haul, I'd go and subscribe. So my book is Stephen King's Billy Summers. It's one of his latest books. The latest one he's done is Fairy Tales. Fairy Tales, yeah, I think Fairy Tales. But I think this is the one before that one. So it's fairly new. So Billy Summers is a killer for hire. He's among the best snipers in the world. A decorated Iraq war vet who can blend into any neighborhood and disappear after the shot is taken. But he'll only agree to a contract if the target is truly a bad guy. Now Billy wants out, but first he's offered one final job, an offer which is just too big to refuse. As the days count down to the hit, Billy senses something is wrong, yet he doesn't yet know just how wrong, or about the woman who will help him try to set things right. Part thriller, part war story, part lyrical portrait of a small town America, Billy Summers is about a good man in a bad job with one last shot at redemption. Again, this is set in present times, but it is Stephen King. I will give any Stephen King book a go. After reading his Dark Tower series, it will be a go-to read whenever I do have the time. He does write some chunky books, but he does also have some fairly slim ones. So the next book is The Humans by Matt Haig. I have read one of his other books, which is up there, The Midnight Library. I found it very surreal, but this one I'm sure will be surreal also. There is no place like home, or is there? After an incident one wet Friday night, where he is found walking naked through the streets of Cambridge, Professor Andrew Martin is not feeling quite himself. Food sickens him, clothes confuse him. Even his loving wife and teenage son are repulsive for him. He feels lost amongst a crazy alien species and hates everyone on the planet. Everyone, that is, except Newton, and he is a dog. Who is he really, and what could make someone change their mind about the human race? Sounds like it's set in present times, but it sounds like a comedy to me. I'm up for a book that will try and make me laugh. So I've got the last two books. I've heard about this one quite a lot on BookTube. Not so much the story, but other booktubers saying that it's an amazing read, or at least it's a good read, it's worth a read. The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. The back says, "You're invited to join the Maidens. The Maidens are Cambridge University's most exclusive society, whose members are selected by the charismatic professor of Greek tragedy, Edward Forsker. A secretive set of the brightest, most captivating students. When one of the Maidens is murdered, grieving young therapist Mariana Andros is drawn back to the idyllic campus where she was once herself a student. The group from which each victim will be chosen, because beneath the university's ancient traditions and beauty is a web of secrets, jealousy, and lies. And when the killer threatens the person she loves the most, Mariana will give anything to stop them, even her own life." So I am trying to broaden my reading taste, so it's not just fantasy, science fiction. So this one interested me because of the whole Greek tradition and everything. I learned quite a lot about Greek traditions and social structures through my English degree, my first year, which was really interesting. So I thought I would give this a go just for that. I might surprise myself, it might end up being a DNF, I don't know. So my last book, The Bind Up, is by Ian Fleming. Of course, probably won't have to read in much detail about all these books. Everyone knows who 007 is, James Bond. So in here we have Doctor No, Moonraker, Thunderball, From Russia with Love, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and Goldfinger. These are some of the ones I didn't have. I'm trying to collect all of the James Bond books, the ones that Ian Fleming wrote, not like the Young Bond and Teen Spy sort of ones. No, I want the ones that Ian Fleming actually wrote himself. So that book is to go with the four I already have. I have the Pan editions from Pan Books. The Man with the Golden Gun, Casino Royale, Diamonds Are Forever, and Spy Who Loved Me. I have a nice little collection of them there. I'm one of these people who likes to get the whole collection before I start reading them, just in case I decide to binge read them. So I'm just getting them as and when I see them, like in a charity shop, or again, like the bind up, if I see them in a free little library. I'll pick them up, and once I get the whole set, I'll try and read through them all. So that has been my book haul. If you've read any of these and you've liked them, or even if you didn't like them, if you want to let me know in the comments below, I'll take your recommendations, and the ones that seem to be liked the most will probably be higher up on the list for my TBR. Thank you very much for watching, and if you haven't subscribed already, press the subscribe button below and ring the bell.